in the prepper world, in the preparedness communities, home security is a subject that gets touched on quite a bit. And when you say home security, a lot of people automatically go to, guns and ammo. And a lot of people think just because you've got the guns and the ammo, right, you're sitting on ammo cans piled to the ceiling, that you're going to be totally fine. No one's going to come get you because you've got what the tools required. I think the first step number one, is preventing problems from coming to your doorstep in the first place. Getting the would-be criminals to move on past your house and go on to easier prey. I think that is by far the biggest thing that people need to do as far as addressing home security, and I think it's probably the most neglected. What can you do to make your place look less appealing, less easy? You don't want to be the easy target. One thing that I'm doing that I've been neglecting for a while is opening up some visual, clearing up some space so I can just see further. I live in the South, and the jungle will quickly encroach upon your house. It will cover you up very, very fast. The kudzu will take over. You've seen the abandoned homes and stuff on the side of the road. They disappear pretty quickly if you don't maintain it, and then you lose that visual. So something that I've been neglecting and that I need to do is open up some pathways where I can see what's going on further away from the house. Now, I mean, I guess ideally in one way, just clear cutting everything for, 300 yards around my house so I could see everything and nothing could sneak up on my home, I think in one way might be beneficial, but I also enjoy some privacy, and I don't want people, driving by. My driveway is pretty long, but you could still see, if it wasn't for all the vegetation, you could still see my house from the road. Not that it's a very busy road, but you get what I'm saying. And I enjoy my privacy. I like to walk out in my front yard and take a leak, I like to pee whenever the feeling comes upon me. I like to just make things happen. Like, let nature do its work. But anyway, so I like my privacy, but I also want to be able to see what's going on. So I think that just clearing some holes, some small pathways here and there where I can just see further distances in select locations that I'm aware of, that I know, where I can see what's going on the other side of the creek here, that kind of stuff. Cut some windows in here, I think, is really important. Having dogs, I think, is a big deal. Maggie's around here somewhere. Hey, Maggie! Not because you want some vicious attack dog that's going to bite anything that comes across your fence. It's just that they bark and they make you aware of potential threats. I can tell, like, when my dog Maggie barks, I can tell when she's barking at just a car driving by or whatever, because she does that. Or I can tell the bark when she's on something. For example, the other night she got into a skunk. And I could tell when she was at work on that skunk trying to kill that thing. I don't think it went well. It didn't go in her favor. She got sprayed in the face and she smells awful right now. But she let me know that there was something in the yard and I could go investigate that thing that's in the yard, whether it be a two-legged or four-legged. Doesn't really matter. It could be something going after the chickens. It could be something going after me and my family. So I can differentiate the barks. Her nose, her eyes, her ears, they're all so much more keen than mine. And she works even when I'm sleeping. And I have this debate. Maggie's part of the family, right? And I like having her, inside at night and stuff like that, keep her safe as well. But her job, her primary job is to protect the family, right? And to alert us when things are awry, if something's not where it's supposed to be or someone is not where they're supposed to be. So I think going forward, I might just keep her outside from now on at night, because I think it's just a big deal. And now it's important to not just ignore, like what happens is a lot of guys that were overseas, for example, in Afghanistan, Iraq, and all of that, they'll tell you that there were dogs all over the place. And those dogs were constantly barking all the time. So they weren't really much of an alarm because they were always crying wolf. Those dogs were always barking. They were always barking at just everything. So if you've got a dog that's just barking nonstop, incessantly for no reason, then that's not really that helpful. You need a dog that barks only when something is, you know, not where it's supposed to be. She's got a brand new Wazoo tracking bandana. Don't you, girl? Don't you, girl? So when you're exploring the creek bed here, creek bottom, you can make sure you know what animals have been on your turf. You can identify those easily. Fences and gates and all that stuff, if you can have them where you live, you know, if you live in a neighborhood or something like that, you can't have gates on your driveways. I get that. But if you have an option to do that, I think it's really smart. Again, it's not going to stop anybody. I mean, anybody can get out and cut through a lock with bolt cutters, or just ram the gate with a truck or something like that. Yeah, I get it, unless you're building Fort Knox where you live. Is a would-be bad guy going to smash through your gate when he can just drive up 100 yards further and go to the next house that's so much easier to get to that doesn't have a gate? Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm getting at. So these deterrents, these are the things that matter more. So you don't even have to have the problems in the first place. You don't have to be, you know, having the gunfight at the OK Corral with the bad guy because he doesn't even stop at your place. That's the secret. That's the key. Avoiding the problem before it even starts. A lot of people, when they talk about, you know, defensive weapons and such like that, they think just because they have them, that makes them safe. Can you hit the broadside of a barn? I know so many people that have all these. We live in America and everybody's got them, right? But can they? I know so many people that can't hit the broadside of a barn. They are so inadequate when it comes to proficiency with these tools that it's a joke. They're actually more of a hazard, more of a danger to themselves than they probably would be to anybody else. And you probably know some people that I'm talking about. Maybe you're one of those people. If you bought the firearm, if you bought the thing, took it to the range maybe one time, and then put it on a shelf or put it in a safe somewhere, it's completely useless. You got to do some training, and I get that it requires time, it requires energy, it requires motivation to get out and do these types of things, but it's so important if you're actually planning on using it one day. One of the comments that I see in videos a lot is like, you know, when the SHTF happens, I'm just going to go take what I need, you know. And the truth of the matter is, that some of those might be bluffs, right? I get that. But the truth of the matter is that there are those people out there that their doomsday plan is just to go take what they need from those that already have it. There's no preparations needed. And I think that's man, that's the evil inside of us all. We're all capable of doing terrible things like that to one another, especially when times get tough. But I think we have to realize, I think it's important to realize that threat exists. There are people out there that will take from you, hurt you and your family to get what they want no matter what, without any remorse. And I think we need to do everything that we can to prevent that from happening. We need to be aware of it first, and then we need to do what we can to prevent it from happening. And deterrence, like we talked about before, I think is a big one. Getting training, being proficient, and not just you know, weapons handling, but hand-to-hand combat, because things happen really, really close. A lot of people think like, oh, I'll see this thing coming from a long ways away and I'll have time to get to whatever it is that I need, the tool that I need to solve the problem. But oftentimes that's not the case. The problem is on you before you can even react. Like, I saw a video maybe yesterday or day before yesterday of a guy getting attacked in a downtown type area, an urban setting, and he was, you know, a guy came at him with a knife, and the guy was on him before he had any idea what was going on. And that's often the times you're reacting to the attack as opposed to, you know, getting a heads up. It's not like the bad guy's going to say, hey, here I come, you know, ready or not. You know, and seeing that guy get attacked like that, it breaks my heart, because, you know, he didn't want that. He didn't ask for that. You know, he didn't ask for a fight. Minding his own business, walking down the street, you know. And some crazy guy didn't even rob him, I don't think. It just attacked him for whatever reason, because he's, you know, probably crazy, you know. And that's just the fact of it. You can't always think like the bad guy, because the people watching right now, you guys are probably rational thinkers, and you think to yourself, you know, I wouldn't do that, or I would never behave in this way to that person because, you know, I'm not crazy. But those crazy people are out there, and you just can't know exactly what they're going to do. And even if you do all the things I'm talking about, you have the gates and the fences and the security lights up, and you got the dog barking, you got all the stuff. You've cleared the lane so you can see what's going on. It doesn't matter. Some crazy person might still come strolling up in broad daylight and do what he or she pleases. You just don't know. And that's why it's so important to be prepared, and not just yourself, but oftentimes what we think is, I'm the protector of my family, right? That's why I work out. That's why I'm strong. That's why I train. That's why I do these things, and I'll be ready for any of this. And maybe that's true. Maybe you are the guy. Maybe you're it. You are the Chuck Norris. But it doesn't matter if you're not home, right? People can see you leave. They can see your truck pull out of the driveway and head off for the day, and then boom, wife and kids are home alone, right? And then what? So it's so important to not just train yourself, but to train the people around you. And I failed on that so many times because the people that I care about the most aren't as passionate about these things as I am. They don't, they're not passionate about the firearms training, and they're not passionate about, training jujitsu, and they're not situationally aware all the time because their minds are just in other places. But it's so important to, if you got to force them, you got to force them. If that's what we got to do, if we've got to make them be ready, because the most vulnerable of us, of our community, us, you guys watching, and everyone that we're talking about here, the most vulnerable are the ones that are going to be subject to these attacks by people that are out there to do others harm. It's not the big jacked guy walking down the street with a gun on his hip and tattoos on both arms. No one's gonna, JJ, he's a big, strong dude. He's walking down the street. No one's gonna mug him. Most likely. Yeah, of course it can happen, but the chances of him being attacked are so much less than the 110-pound girl walking down the street clutching her purse. It's just that's the fact of the matter. So we can do all we can to be prepared, and we can do all that we can to train ourselves up, but we've got to make sure that we're training our loved ones up as well. Guys, I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section on this one. What are you doing for your home's security? What are you doing to protect your loved ones? What are you doing to train them up? Love to hash that out in the comments. Love to talk about it. Love to discuss it. And I'd love to get some new ideas for possibly some things that I could do around my place to make my family a bit more safe. Anyway, please hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. I can't wait to see you on the next one. I'm Jason Salyer with Survival Dispatch, and when disaster strikes, will you be ready? Power outages, natural disasters, economic collapse, threats can come in a lot of different forms. As a Survival Dispatch insider, you'll be able to gain the knowledge, the skills, and equipment necessary to protect your family when it really, really matters. For pennies a day, you can gain instant access to our team of survival experts that has decades of experience under extreme conditions. They'll provide crucial information on such things as stockpiling food, medical necessities, communication plans. We can deliver proven techniques to help you get home, shelter in place, or bug out safely. You will receive specific, actionable plans to withstand disasters from start to finish. Don't leave your family's safety to chance. As a Survival Dispatch insider, you can face the worst with confidence. We make disaster preparedness simple and affordable. Join our community of survivors today. Visit survivaldispatch.com to get started.